why men don't cry.
The feeling starts to surface and something automatically kicks in before I even make a choice.
What has emotional suppression cost you and cost men?
That's when you end up having like a hysterical breakdown in public that you can't control.
Sometimes the strongest lessons are often the ones nobody teaches directly.
The reflexive suppression of emotion in public. Where does it come from? What does it cost you? And what actually happens when you find the space where it doesn't have to be managed?
And 3, 2, 1.
Action. Recently, Allie's like 2? Your son?
Ali's now 3 now.
3. Oh my gosh.
3.
Okay. I have a 21-year-old son, but then I also have 18-year-old girls. And we just had their graduation. And this time of year is kind of insane right now. And I'm at the graduation and I'm having all the feels, all the feelings. And, the chest tightening, the throat closing, the eyes welling, all that stuff. And now I'm a little bit further down the road in this conversation that we're going to have about this today, but I was conscious of the fact that the emotions were coming up and the old kind of habit of suppressing it, of swallowing it. You know what I mean? And maybe you don't know what I mean because
No,
you're
I
not a
do.
guy. Yeah. Okay, so maybe you have a similar experience like that? You mean as a woman?
No, I know what you mean because all men in my life are exactly the same, and all male I coach in my coaching sessions are exactly the same. Maybe one, I actually know one that is pretty good, but the rest, like you are actually pretty good. You at least you recognize your emotion. You just say here and there and there. Yeah.
I'm more present to it now.
Yeah.
There were years where it was on automatic pilot. I wasn't even aware that I was doing it. So now that we're having these conversations, now I've been doing this for a long time, coaching, therapy, all that kind of stuff, right? So sitting in that room, it's a little bit further down the path of this conversation, but it was really just an opportunity to kind of catch myself and let myself have permission that whatever feeling came up could come up. So that's what we're talking about, that every man has experienced and almost nobody discusses directly. Now, again, I'm being a little bit absolute in this regard, but the reflexive suppression of emotion in public. Where does it come from? What does it cost you? And what actually happens when you find the space where it doesn't have to be managed? What would that be like? What would that be like, right? And I want to be clear from the start. I'm not above this. This reflex still kicks in. I'm still in this conversation as well, but I just want this conversation to be about this potential opportunity.
Jordan, in this episode, we're talking about why men don't cry. With all that comes around the emotions. Don't cry. Don't feel anything. Can't show anything. Put the emotions somewhere else. But I have a question. From my perspective, what I feel I see in men, I see the anger. It's allowed. When a man gets angry, roar, and the football they get angry, in the fight they get angry, that's allowed. That's anger is acceptable. But why is sadness not acceptable? Why is vulnerability difficult, Jordan?
Well, as far as how it came to be for me, at least, I can't look back and think like, oh, a coach told me stop being a pussy, suck it up. Or like my dad said, men don't cry. Or, you know what I mean? I can't pinpoint a time when it happened specifically. I think like you're saying, it's a cultural programming. Crying is weakness. Showing your feelings emotionally like that is weak. And men aren't weak. And if you show weakness, then you're in danger.
Right. But did anyone actually say it like that?
No. Well, yeah, I mean, let's just say, no, not specifically. But if you watch TV, movies, anything, you go to school, wherever, it's around you. It's in our culture that you can't help but stumble on it. And I mean, even so far as like, there are women who, if a guy starts getting weepy, they're like, what's wrong with you? There's almost like this, there's something wrong with a guy for having his emotions that require leaking out of his eyes.
So who taught boys not to cry?
I don't know, society, culture. That's why. What do you think?
Well, that's what I'm asking, because sometimes What I feel in life is that we are very focused on teaching everything to kids and some emotional as well. But sometimes the strongest lessons are often the ones nobody teaches directly. And I think somebody, some group of people, some cultural behaviors have taught you and men and boys not to cry.
It's not a conscious decision. The feeling starts to surface and something automatically kicks in before I even make a choice. It's so deeply rooted in me that I've had to, over the years, this kind of goes back to one of our other episodes, but be aware of, oh, I'm doing that. Oh, I keep doing that. Why do I keep doing that? Now what? What's it costing me by not doing it?
Well, exactly. I was about to ask, what has emotional suppression cost you and cost men?
Yeah. Like you and I both know, suppressed emotions don't disappear. They accumulate. They build up, right? And I think about the men I know in recovery rooms, specifically, who are sitting with decades of unexpressed grief, unexpressed fear, unexpressed pain, men who genuinely did not have a single space in their lives where any of that was acceptable. And what accumulation looked like in their bodies, in their relationships, in their health, because the research obviously backs this up. The emotional suppression that gets socialized into men from childhood isn't just a psychological cost, it's a physical one. I mean, there's significant research connecting chronic emotional suppression to men in cardiovascular disease, compromised immune function, lifespan gap. I mean, we know that, right? I mean, men and women, men die an average of 5 years earlier than women. That's quite a gap. The emotion doesn't disappear when you suppress it. It accumulates. And the research suggests the accumulation has a physical address.
100%. And this is what we've talked about in our episode, The Body Speaks.
Yeah.
And basically what you're saying, Jordan, is that just because you stop expressing an emotion doesn't mean you stop feeling it, right? And so back on the question I asked earlier, why is anger allowed? Yeah. Very good, right? For men, be angry with the football match and we're fighting against each other. Right, and a man is brave. Why is that socially acceptable and not cry? Because you look weak, I guess. Is that why?
That's my first response. I think to show that I'm just kind of going back to think about myself when this happens. Like, for example, this is what's so bizarre. I've grown up working as an actor. I've been an actor for a long time. I get this amazing opportunity, this space where I get to be given permission to have feelings, right? All of them. So it's a safe space. And it's a tough space for me to go. That emotional cry space, I got to work on it, And then I'm sitting at dinner with my family and we're having this conversation about whatever, I don't know what it is. And all of a sudden I get caught up in what's being said and I get quiet. And then my daughters or my son or my wife look over at me and they're like, Dad, are you okay? Why are you crying? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe a little. Sure. Yeah. So there's this hiding that happens that if I let you know that, there's a vulnerability there. And probably from a very young age, being on a schoolyard, playing sports, there's no crying in baseball.
Let's get personal here, Jordan. When was the last
time? Now we're going to get personal? This is the part where we get personal?
Listen. The deepest part of you, I'm going to peek in there. When was the last time you cried?
Oh, no, this is good. No, this is perfect. Because this kind of gets to what I was saying earlier. I think there is a space that I've been able to find where I've gotten to have my feelings. Now, obviously, acting is one of them. Being in the rooms in a meeting is another one of them where I'll be like sharing something and all of a sudden it just takes me over and I have to stop because I can't speak because the emotion is so powerful. Rather than pushing it down or apologizing for it, it makes me crazy when I see people on TV doing interviews and it's a man and they're sharing something and they're moved emotionally and they go, I'm sorry. And they apologize. I'm like, what are you apologizing for? And so what I've been doing lately, other than the ones I just said, that's helped a lot is breath work. I've meditated for years, but the breath work for me has given me connection and access to that somatic experience in the body where I kind of go into the body and the emotions. I don't even know what they are, but it's almost like it's mining, like I go in there, I kind of shake the system up. And when I shake the system up, literally feelings come up and I don't even know what I'm crying about, but I cry.
Okay,
Sitting in my
but
room in the quiet space, cry.
okay. Okay, but that's because you do that. But when
Yeah.
was the last time that in an event, in a situation, in front of people, with people, when was the last time that you allowed yourself to cry?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. Actually, I'm
No,
not.
no,
I'm
no,
not.
no. I mean, honestly though, I can't, except for with my kids and my wife,
Yeah, yeah,
they've seen me, and I'm not like, and here's the thing, I'm not like ugly crying, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, and I say like, like sobbing,
yeah, yeah,
but emotions are coming up and they're taking
yeah,
me over and I
yeah.
can't resist them. And so it's happened usually around the dinner table with my family. That's usually when it comes up. Or like if I'm reading something and it's about my children, forget it. I mean, for me to actually get up and do a toast
Mm,
in public where
mm.
somebody I'm toasting or saying something special and deep about, forget it. I am a
So,
total softie.
so Jordan, the sadness, the emotion was never
Yeah.
absent. It was the permission that was required from you
Correct.
to
Yeah.
give yourself to do it. So do
Totally.
you obviously
Permission.
now an adult? Yeah, you're an adult, you're a father, I'm a mother, I'm an adult. And now I worry about my son. I've got a boy, and now
Yep.
I worry, how can I teach my son that vulnerability, showing vulnerability is a good thing, but at the
Yep.
same time, I don't want him to be too vulnerable and, and be bullied because he cries and he allows
Yeah.
himself to cry. So there is a fine balance I'm trying to find out. What do I want him to learn and what do I not want him to learn? Because children don't learn emotional intelligence because we teach it. They learn it because we model it.
Yep.
And my husband, his father, is very bad at showing emotions. Very bad. So we are
Yes.
working on that. And from a mother, how can I help them as men to show emotions? Without feeling weak, without feeling guilt, without feeling
Yeah.
shame, without feeling awkward. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't want him to be crying in the middle of everywhere or in the middle of a school or whatever
Sure.
all the time and then being bullied for it. I want him to
Sure.
be strong as well and to say, no, I
Yes.
allow myself to cry and then I allow myself to do this. So I'm trying to find that.
Yeah. I mean, what comes up when you're saying it, I think this is something that I've learned and I've shared this with people and gotten feedback from people about it, but emotions come and go. It's like a wave. It comes up and it goes down and it passes. My point is it passes. It's the resisting of it that keeps it around. If we allow it to come up and move through us, it moves through pretty quick. It's when we don't let it move through naturally and it builds up, that's when you end up having like a hysterical breakdown in public that you can't control. You know what I mean? So I think that for your son, for any person, if you can just give yourself space in a moment to just acknowledge that you're having the feelings, don't try to explain them away. Don't try to resist them. Acknowledge that they're there and then breathe with them. And if you need to cry, if you need to have the tears, if you need to step outside for a minute, take a moment and then come back. I think that that permission that we're giving ourselves gives that person the space to have the feelings and then come back to whatever they're dealing with also. I don't know. That's what comes up for me.
And that's marvelous. What you just said is fantastic. But
Yeah.
I've got a lot of men in my life, in my
Yeah.
network, who
Yeah.
literally tell me men don't cry. Who literally tell me I cannot show my emotions at work. Showing my emotions at work?
Totally.
You crazy, Miriam?
Totally. Yeah.
So what you're saying is great. But what do we say to these people, to these men who truly believe men don't cry?
you're a woman, you have your emotions, right? You're a firecracker Spaniard. Am I getting in trouble for saying that? Like, that's
No,
sexist.
no.
But I think that I'd be asking you. You have emotions. You're at work. What do you do? Do you have your emotions like in a boardroom or in a meeting? Do you start crying?
Let me have a think, actually. When was the last time at work? I mean, for me, it's usually anger. I showed a lot of anger, sadness. I'll tell you when. I remember.
I think
I
anger,
remember now.
I think anger is
Yeah,
protecting sadness.
yeah, yes. I'll tell you what happened. I was in the office one day
Yeah.
when I was working in my corporate job. I was in the office and I spoke with someone which I really liked a lot as a person, and that
Yeah.
person told me that they were being let go.
Yeah. Being fired.
Then that person started to open up to me in the middle of the office, started to open up, telling me a lot of issues, and me being so empathetic, I felt really sad for that person. And
Yeah.
I was in the middle of the office, and suddenly I thought, oh my God, people are going to watch me, that I'm going to start crying. People are going
That's
to
right.
look at me. What are they going to say?
Yep.
And at that point in time, I thought, I'm a human being. I am going to show my feelings, my empathy, and my vulnerability. So I remember grabbing that person from the arm like this. Me started to cry, like, was feeling very sorry for that person, honestly. No,
Yeah.
I was feeling really sorry.
Genuine. Yes. Got it.
Got the person, and we walked towards a more private place where
Right.
we can then express everything ourselves. But
Yeah.
I didn't, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to do
Right.
anything. I
Right.
started to let myself go because I'm a human being. And you know what? I'm going to show something touched me. I'm going to show it. Now, different thing is if they do something to me directly that makes me feel really, really sad at that point in time. Now I think about where I am. But what if I'm not going to show my emotion in that meeting, in
Yeah.
the middle of the meeting, they saying something and then I get sad. I might not show the emotion right in the
Okay.
meeting, but
Yeah.
what I will do though is that later when I come home with my husband or whatever, then I will cry. Then
Yeah.
I will go and
Right.
I say, look what happened. And then I go, poof.
But you're having it. You're aware of it, and then you're having it rather than shoving it down, suppressing it.
I'm pausing the bottom. I'm saying pause. And then I go by and then I feel it later.
Yeah, let me keep this for later. No, and there is something to be said about that. I say the same thing about like if you get caught up in something, you're kind of spinning out on some issue that you're freaking out about. There's nothing wrong with, I think, spinning on something, but I like to give myself a time frame. I'm like, I'm gonna obfuscate on this issue. I'm gonna give myself 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, it's time to move on. I try to get a little bit more diligent about, or rigorous, I guess, about letting myself proliferate over something that just isn't going to do me any good. Now, crying, I think there's something to be said about letting that process, like you're saying,
Yes.
do it
Yes.
later, doing it when the setting is appropriate,
Yes.
right? And the setting is appropriate for
Yes.
everyone. You don't need to have like a full on meltdown at work. If you're having
Exactly.
a full down meltdown at work, there's something else to look at. you know, I think we're talking about maintenance. I think it's about maintenance.
Yes. And you know
That's
what I showed you that I do, right? Something happened. I come home and with my husband I cry out, okay? I cry.
yeah.
My husband doesn't do that. My husband,
Yeah.
something happens to him. He comes home and and I say, "Oh, how are you?" Good. What happened today? This happened. And I was like, that's really bad. I bet you're really sad about it. And he's like, I'm okay. I'm not sad. I'm okay. And I'm like,
No.
you can't be okay with this that happened, surely.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay. Nothing to talk about. It's
Stone
okay. It's all
face.
good. So I'm
Yeah.
like, why? You've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm modeling it to you how I do it. He can't do it because men don't cry. He can't do it. So you as a man, I want you to say something to my husband, to those men who
Oh,
say, because I told him. But he said, but you're a woman, you're a woman. But what about you, Jordan? You're a man. What would you say to my clients and to my husband and to my friends who say, men don't cry. I will not show my emotions, not even when I'm in a safe space with my wife.
yeah.
What are you saying to these men?
Well, here's the thing is I don't have a solution to this. All I can say is from my own experience, I've done it. What you're saying, I am still working on it. I still feel vulnerable instead of it in front of my wife. doing it, she couldn't be more accommodating and more supportive and like, yes, than anybody, right? So all I can say is as I've given myself permission and then practiced having the emotions, the outcome, the feeling, the release, it's so good and so necessary that my edginess, my that kind of experience is lowered, right? I'm not as edgy because I'm letting the air out of the tires every once in a while, right? That pressure builds up. I have a little bit of a cry. Now, I think women do this naturally, right? Talking to your girlfriends or whatever, it just kind of, it kind of comes out because you're emotional beings. So are men.
Yes.
So are men. And I
Yes.
think boys, my God, forget about it. It makes me want to cry just thinking about it. The idea that these young boys don't feel that it's safe to have their emotions anywhere is, I think, the epidemic that we're dealing with right now with mental health.
100%, Jordan,
So
100%.
I think that just having the ability to, for me at least, is okay. It kind of comes back to awareness, right? We talked about this in another episode. It's like, all right, I'm suppressing my emotions. I don't want to suppress my emotions. Suppressing my emotions is not healthy. All that's like data. It's information. I know that. But now what am I going to do about it? And so for me, it's been when I'm in a meeting and I'm sharing something and my emotions come up, rather than apologizing for it or swallowing it, I just breathe and allow it to happen. And the same thing, like I said, when I'm doing my meditation and I'm doing breath work and I'm like scanning through my body. And if something comes up, I don't even know what it is. I don't try to solve it. I just allow it. And the great thing is that just the allowing of it, the emotion passes through. And then I get up and I get on with my day, but that residue isn't sticking to me. So I don't know. Does that answer? It's a long answer to that question. I don't know.
Yes. And I think what we can add to that is once you start doing it, it will be hard at the beginning because you've never done it before to these people, okay, to my husband, and my husband is starting to try. So it's hard. But you know what happens? You know what becomes possible once you men start showing your vulnerabilities and your emotions? I'll tell you what, much better relationships. Much happier wives, happier friends, deeper connection, more honesty, and more freedom. So imagine how much energy it takes to hide all of those parts of yourselves every day. That takes a lot of energy. Imagine putting all of that energy onto a lot of other things much better, having better connection, deeper connection, more honesty, more freedom. So maybe emotional maturity, as we understand it, isn't about expressing everything. Maybe it's about no longer needing to hide that vulnerability and that part of yourself.
Yep. Yeah. I would just invite, the next time you feel something coming up in public and that suppression button kicks in, just notice it. You don't have to fix it today. Just notice what's happening in that moment. Just that is progress.
So what is it that you now notice?
That's what I notice. I just gave it.
That moment.
That was it. I'm inviting the listeners to stop when those emotions come up and that automatic trigger to suppress it comes up. Just notice it.
Yes. Now you notice that maybe the question isn't, do men cry? Maybe the question is, which parts of themselves did men learn were unsafe to show? And what becomes possible once those parts are finally welcomed back?
And if you're listening to this and you know a man who's been suppressing and you feel that this landed for you, share it with them. It might open up a conversation. It may have them never call you again. I don't know. But, consider that if this landed in any way for you and you have an uncle or brother or a dad, share it with them and then maybe open up a dialogue.
Make your wives happy, please. Be more open.
Or boyfriends. Or
Or
husbands.
boyfriends, yeah.
Yeah.
Make your friends happier, honestly. Better connection, deeper connection, and more honesty. Once my husband starts opening up and start giving more emotions, I feel a lot better with him. I feel like he's more honest. So please give it a try. Give it a try. And if you need help, coaches can help you with that as well. That's why we're talking about this topic. We see all the time in our sessions. Give it a try. Like Jordan gave really good advice or recommendations. And if you don't want to cry in the middle of the office, yes, good. Go and cry at home with your wife, please. Let that emotion out.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being here with us as usual. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Yes. Oh my God, what's coming out with the next episode as well? We're going to talk about boundaries. Boundaries. What's coming next is we're going to talk about boundaries and why it's so difficult to put boundaries with family in particular. And we're going to talk about love as well and what's happening with our relationships. Very interesting.
The benefit of boundaries.
Yes. Very interesting. I very much look forward to that one. Okay. Thank you once again. Thank you for all your perspective on men and your advice, Jordan, your recommendations. I wish all men happy lives, more connection with themselves and more authentic selves.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy the episode. Please leave us some comments. We want to know how you found it. And I will see you on the next one.
See you next time.
Take care. Bye-bye. Now you know.